My name is Ian Walsh. This is Masters of the Market, joined today with Carl Scaramuzza from creditblueprint.net. Carl, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. And if you guys haven't checked out Carl on Facebook, he's got a pretty cool thing going. He's got I love the production stuff you guys do. I like the credit cocky shirts. The way you guys market yourselves is very good. So if you're not friends with him on Facebook or his company, look him up. It's good. Worth your time for sure. So the other thing that we wanted to get into today, and we talked about like specifically credit and people, whether you're an investor or an FHA, increasing your credit score and the tips and tricks. I actually like to talk to people on this episode about, I like to talk to people that are really in their game, in their marketplace, that do a lot, right? And not so much, I mean, there's a lot of guys out there doing some business. I'm sure they're succeeding, but if you're only doing, say, 5 deals a year within the real estate world, if you're only doing 5 deals a year, that's okay. Maybe you're making good money and everything, but like your scope or perspective on the marketplace is only going to be relative to maybe those 5 deals and a little bit more. When you're doing hundreds of deals or moving hundreds of millions of dollars, you have a much broader look on the marketplace from your perspective. So we try to get people on here that have a very broad perspective of the marketplace, which is, in your world, you. And we were just talking about this beforehand. Over your career, you've probably seen like 40 to 45,000 credit reports over your time. That is a large sample size for anybody paying attention. That is not a small amount of, you're a black belt in your industry. And that's what I kind of look for. And I learn myself on these because from a lending perspective, part of my job is understanding where the market's going. And if I can cumulatively do all these, interviews back and forth, I get a bias to the market. So can you give everybody a background in how you got into this, where you were? I mean, it was 20 years ago. It was, late 90s, right? So what was the market like then? How did it transition? Talk to us about you and where your company came from.
Yeah, actually, 98 to '08, I was in the mortgage business. I was a loan officer. We were doing a lot of subprime stuff, 8 and 8.5%. I was 19 years old, having a lot of fun, making a lot of money. It was a good time. Then in '08, right, the crash happened. Everybody got hit really, really hard. I don't know anyone that didn't take a big hit in '08. And if they didn't in '08, they did in '09, 2010. Like it caught up with them eventually. So actually, 10 years in the mortgage business, right? I make the transition in '08 to credit repair, and I jump in the business, and I'm like, oh man, this is not for me. Like I want to go back to somebody handing me leads and me talking on the phone. And here's the story: I fail a simple drug test. I can't get back in. Now, Ian, you don't know me. Maybe you do. I've never done a drug in my life, ever. So a guy to fail a drug test who's never done a drug to not get back in the mortgage industry, kind of ironic. So forced my hand. I had to jump into the credit repair business. Fast forward, right, or go back here in '08, '09 when I jumped into this business. It was really like a learning curve. Like this was not something that I knew what to do. I had that background from mortgages, but the credit repair piece was a lot of trial and error. That's why I say that number out there, 40,000, because there was a lot of times in the beginning when we started this company and the company I was with before, where we would take someone's money and their scores would go down 100 points.
Oh,
and they'd literally be at the front desk and they'd be like, what happened? And we'd go to report going, okay, well, we're not going to do that again. So my point is it's a lot of trial and error that got us to where we're at right now, which also kind of bridged that gap to allow me to come out and put my face out there and do all this social media stuff because I'm so confident in our back end. I know when someone comes to my company, Credit Blueprint, that we're going to be able to provide some value. I know the scores will never go down unless it's something they did, something counterproductive.
I got you. That makes sense. And what was the difference? Like, okay, so when you started trial and I mean, man, all of us in business, when you start a business, it's all trial and error. And then you get good and you get confident and you end up where you're doing now, right? But that's part of the nature of our beast. It's like nobody walks into business day one and goes, I'm the expert. You become an expert, right?
Yep.
So, but like, what was the market like when you first got in? I mean, you had different kinds of inquiries back then. '08, '09, a lot of people trying to figure out a way to save their house. 11, 12, you had people trying to bump their credit score to go buy their third house again. Where are we going in 2018? How do you see like the shift in types of inquiries maybe, or the type of people that approach you guys more or less since '08, '09?
Yeah. Ian,
You're still good to go, man.
Ian, I have no clue, man. I'm right in the moment. You're asking me about what's happening in 2018?
Yeah, I'm looking for the crystal ball. Somebody's got to have it on this show, right?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So, with millennials, there was just an article with these Gen Z millennials that they might like not even need realtors in the future. Like they're going to do their own research and they're not going to need a realtor to help them find a house. They're going to find it on their own. And that's actually what I'm experiencing. A lot of these millennials that are starting to watch the Chronicles of Credit Carl, they just want some free information. And what I want from them in return, I'll give them some free information. If you could like or share my video, that's great. But that's what I see happen with the millennials. They're just, they really want to do their own research. And if you're a realtor out there, I feel like you got to find a way to get in front of those millennials with social media and declare yourself an expert. Obviously, you want to be an expert before you declare yourself an expert.
Sure.
You got to use social media to get in front of these millennials. Otherwise, they're going to do their own research and you don't exist, right? I mean, they're looking at their phone 70 times a day. So a headshot or, your arm around somebody with a bottle of champagne once a week, if you're a realtor, it's just not getting it done right now.
That's right. That's interesting you say that. So, and we're in a transitional period, right? We're in the baby boomer phase, kind of leaving the Fox News phase. That's why your traditional marketing of mailers, newspapers, you still probably have 10 years as they fade out, but they're fading out. So as that's fading out, because that's their primary information source, the millennials are the ones that in 10 or 15 years from now, like we're fading in and that's fading out. So I completely agree. I mean, it's why you guys see me on social media. It's why you see you on social media. If it were postcard mailers that were working, that's what we'd be doing. But that's not the gig. So I agree that the future of the industry will be dictated by the millennials over the next 10 to 15 years. Your industry, my industry, everybody around us. And you're also, I totally agree with that a lot, because information now is so easily available that there's a lot that you can bridge gaps to understand. I mean, you go on the internet, somebody tells you one thing, you go on the internet, within 2 seconds you have 30 professional opinions and go, hey, you just told me this, but it's not that. So yeah, I think it's going to sharpen everybody's, toolbox in terms of like a realtor. You've got to make sure you know what you're talking about to a millennial because they're going to Google it fast and have just as much information as you. I think you have to provide additional value in the services you provide, but you've got to learn how to, like exactly what you just said, you've got to learn how to cater to the millennials coming up, or you get caught in where a lot of our parents got caught, which is that information gap. And if you miss that swing by just a few years at this point, you're like obsolete. You know what I mean? I don't know if you saw that, we were probably roughly the same age or so, but when you saw that coming up, I remember people coming into the workforce maybe 48, 50 years old, that you could tell the ones that made the information gap and the ones that didn't. The ones that stayed with technology survived and got a job and still can thrive. The ones that didn't, it wasn't just that they couldn't get the job they wanted. They got further, like they did worse because they could not bridge that gap. They stayed away from computers. That's happening now. That's happening now in the marketing phase of millennials. So as good as, I mean, we're pretty decent at marketing, the two of us. It's its infantile stage. Like it's not even, we'll look back in 10 years and be like, remember when we did that interview?
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to have VR on and in live meetings and stuff. But that's how it is. I agree. That is where the market's going. What do you think, what are you guys doing? Actually, that's a perfect question. What is your business doing? I see what you're doing, but what are you currently doing to bridge that gap? And what are you pushing forward to in 2018 with Credit Blueprint?
Yeah, I want to be everywhere. I mean, I think you have to know all those platforms. You can't put all of your eggs in one basket. You can't get really good at Facebook and ignore Instagram. Like my Instagram followers went from nothing to 3,000 here recently. And boy, Instagram is so much fun because it's direct to the consumer. We're engaging in conversations with them. They're asking questions and then they're enrolling in our process. You got to understand Facebook. And the new thing that I'm trying to do is I feel like, Facebook's like your billboard, right? And then that like the old billboard that you put on, the expressway, and now Facebook's that, right? And now you got to be able to take that information and dump it on YouTube because YouTube's like a library. So that's where we're headed right now. I have a new video headed at, that I'm going to introduce my company and my vision and stuff like that. That's going to kind of launch our YouTube and try to get some subscribers over there. So you got to know all these platforms. Even, it sounds crazy, but Snapchat. If you look at what Cardone's doing, Grant Cardone, I talk about him a lot because I follow him, right? The guy's 50 some years old. I think he's 55, right? So he made that transition. He understood that everybody was going to be on social media and you better learn it. And then if you learn those platforms, Ian, I'm a big believer that I want to learn it myself. I want to control it. I don't want to outsource it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to have my finger on the pulse, right? So I know exactly what's moving the needle up and down, moving it. That's the key. Like everybody wants, like a lot of I talk about realtors and mortgage people, they want to outsource it. They want to pay someone, hey, if I paid you $500 or $1,000 a month, but it's not the same personal touch that you're putting on social media. It's not your footprint, right?
It's not your footprint, and I'm a big believer too so I spend a lot of time on social media, not because actually I like social media, because I don't, but the truth
Right.
is, if I don't spend time on it a lot during the day, you'll miss the swing of what's coming. So that footprint that you land, or like when you outsource it, if I outsource it for 10 years and somebody goes, hey, there's Facebook part 2 and Instagram and MySpace, like, MySpace was once upon a time, and if you tuned off for 5 years and all of a sudden Facebook came along, you'd be like, whoa, what's going on? So the more you're around social media, you can feel the trends and the waves hitting, whether everybody's transitioning to Instagram, whether everybody's going to Snapchat, and you know what you have to be in front of by feeling that. Now, I agree that you can outsource maybe some of it. Maybe you can have a video crew come in and do some of the video, but the actual implementation and experience of social media, I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I have a fear complex of, like, if I miss that wave, and somebody else comes in front of me, they got it. It's over, right? So, but I spend a lot of time on it as a tool, not so much as, like, I don't know, I guess I get some fake news updates, right? But that's about all I get from it. But I spend a lot of it as a tool. So, before we part, talk to me about anything that I missed today that you felt would be, really relevant for the audience to hear.
Well, go back to something that you just said that I think is interesting, because I think you said you don't really like social media, right?
Facebook. No, I like social media, but not for me being social.
Like personal, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was the exact same way. If you look back 2 years ago, I didn't even exist on Facebook. And because I could see it coming and I can see it building up, that's where your business had to be. So if there's a tip out there, there's some advice for someone that's trying to build their brand and you're 50, 60 years old, go learn it. Find out what's going on with social media. It's not different. Guess what? I hooked up with a wonderful Gen Z millennials that are working for me, and they got the inside track, and that helps me do what I'm doing on social media. So don't be a dinosaur, man. Go learn social media. It's where it's at right now.
And don't be afraid of it. It's really not that hard. Like, it's not. Like, once you get the concepts down, you stay consistent with it, you do it every day. It's not. There's nothing out there that you're not rewriting code. I'd say you probably want to get your understanding around maybe like the advertising campaigns and stuff. Takes a little more time. But don't be afraid of it. Gosh, please don't, or else you're not gonna have a job, or you're not gonna be able to advance with everybody. So I agree with you. So Carl, great interview. I like your stuff. I really like your stuff. How do we get in touch with you? Obviously, it's creditblueprint.net, 855-610-credit. Anything else? Any other way to contact you? Any other information you want to leave with everybody here?
And by the way, thank you for having me on. Let's get something straight. I reached out to you, right? So I love what you're doing. So
thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I like what you're doing on social media, Facebook, and all the other platforms. So keep doing that, man. I'm a fan of anyone that's putting themselves out there, that's interviewing and getting their company out there. Fantastic, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. So people can get a hold of me, 855-610-CREDIT, creditblueprint.net. They can email me, carl@creditblueprint.net.
Perfect. You guys know me, Ian, IAN, at hardmoneybankers.com. And hopefully you guys, video 1, you made $100,000, I think, from the tip. No, video 1, you learned mistakes to avoid. Video 2, you went out and flipped the house and made $100,000 because of Carl. And in video 3, you learned the future of where your business has to go. I can't imagine you didn't gain value. Hopefully you did out of these videos. So thanks a lot, Carl.